Good morning, Samoa, and welcome to Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 4, Episode 4, Something Borrowed, Something Green, where if it had occurred to me to try and do like a sort of southern Mark Twain accent more than 30 seconds ago, the intro might have been just a little bit better. But yes, today we are going to be discussing, Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 4, Episode 4, Something Borrowed, Something Green. Which, you know, it's a return to form, I think, for Lower Decks, this season. But, of course, before we get into that, we have to discuss the other piece of Star Trek content, what came out this week, for some godforsaken reason. That's the button. Worst Contact. I forgot the name. Yes, these very short treks would have been going out. Did you hear that? I said what instead of which for two witches in a row. The first worst trek, which literally didn't get a single laugh out of me. And it's not even the worst one, so that's kind of saying something. Yeah, it didn't do it for me. Don't worry, if you're eating, like, I'm not gonna be too gross. You need the clips, and then you need the clips of Data and Twain. Yeah. Oh my god, that completely derailed me, Jax. Oh yeah, Worst Contact. I mean, it was kind of in the same boat. No, it was a little absurdist, but the absurdity of the humor wasn't. I just didn't find it particularly funny or absurd. And you know me, I love a First Contact story. These ones, like, oh, hang on, there's a bit of a dangerous frame because I said I wouldn't be too gross. Yeah, it kind of just made me think it's ruining. I'm sorry, the more I'm looking at this frame, the more I'm realizing it actually is kind of disgusting. Different cultures are amazing, right? They really are amazing. And this culture could theoretically make sense. Like, you know, it's possible that the mucus of these creatures is actually some sort of vital part of their immune system that's also incredibly nutritious, and, like, this is actually great for them, if not other species. But it kind of crosses the line of, like, well, a lot of the things that humans do, or more broadly, like any culture does, yeah, let's move away from the disgusting frames, it's not random. Like, washing your hands isn't just something that humans decide to do culturally. There's, like, genuine, even, like, this whole thing, assuming that it's actually just, like, disgusting snot. Like, there's a reason we do these things, and I always find that fascinating, like, some of the natural forces that just pull different cultures into the same sort of things. You might be saying, the reason I'm not going to spend too much time on this is, well, Nathan, this is a comedy. That doesn't matter. Like, you know, it's not supposed to make sense, which is true. And, like, I've definitely enjoyed comedies that don't make sense, because it's funny enough. But this just didn't grip me in any funny way, so I spent more time thinking about how it was kind of like, this isn't really how things work. And so, yeah, it's just another disappointing one from the very short trek. I mean, again, the visuals, the sound, everything was perfect. Like, I think this planet might have been a little fast, but other than that, that's all amazing. And also, it had the really unfortunate thing to open with Riker saying, "You've developed warp drive, which now means that you're developed enough to join the Federation." I'm like, that's not what the Prime Directive, technically, but that's not what that means. Anyway, let's just get out of there. I don't know, the short treks are interesting, because there seems to be a group of the fan base that is, like, totally loving them, or, like, enjoying them a lot. They're kind of mixed around. And then there's a part of the fan base that's just really not gelling with them. And the first one was the best for me, which seems to be everyone hated that one. But, yeah, they're just not doing it for me. David C. The last very short trek was absolutely nauseating. I shut it right off. However, far trek is fallen. So I don't mind it too much because like what I do admire that short treks, very short treks, went in with like, let's try some non-canonical. Let's just see what kind of weird stuff we can do in non-canonical land. You know, that, like I said, if we kept short treks going, I would have liked to see some things like the Tribble commercial, you know, more like that, where there's an understanding it's not canon. And I think it really worked with that first one. And like the whole water pressure bit, like, that's honestly probably the only real good thing to come out of this whole very short treks. Like, you couldn't put that in something canonical, but we could have a fun satirical adventure. You know, that I like that they've tested that. I hope this maybe doesn't put them off it forever, but they're really just not taking it in directions. They're taking it directions I'm not really enjoying and aren't gelling with me. But I do, at the very least, I applaud the like the experimentalness of the whole thing. And of course, the execution of like being Tass, that's all great. That couldn't be better. Dell, I safe worded when that bit started, but I'm not real good with human gore, and I definitely count snot as gore. Yeah, people didn't like that one. It's kind of funny, I've been looking at the comments of each of the videos, and at this third one, we finally seem to cross the point where people who haven't been gelling with it have dropped off, so the comments are almost entirely positive, because everyone who's everyone's given up on them. Do you guys, like, want me to just not review them? Because, I don't know, I feel like I can at least give a little bit of lip service, like it was good, it was bad, but yeah, they're really not gelling with people. I mean, the Star Trek Reddit is pretty positive on them, but that's r/Star Trek for you. Yeah, it didn't gel with the fan base. And yo and behold, my fan base has pretty similar views to me. Who would have thunk? But yeah, back to something much better. Your reviewing them keeps me from having to watch them. Alright, there we go. Well, duly noted. There's only 2 more left, you know, it's not gonna be too long. But no, this was much better. I mean, I've said with the past 3 episodes of Lower Decks, they weren't bad, but they felt like almost like they came out of season 1 or maybe 2. And this episode's really helped me figure out why the others weren't gelling me and articulate it, because I think Lower Decks has moved past, it's moved past the times where they could just put out, like, a reference fest episode. It can't, if anything, I mean, I haven't seen the older Lower Decks in a bit, but it might have been the Deep Space Nine episode was the one where they finally crossed that line to when, like, you can't just do an episode that's just on Voyager, hey look, it's Voyager, let's have fun. Because when they went to Deep Space Nine, they made it an amazing character-driven story about societal expectations of minority that just happened to take place on Deep Space Nine. And I was like, yes, you know, it has its references, you know, the Deep Space Nine episode's great.
That's the best one.
Yep, Alex pointing at 10D again. But you know, those last few episodes, they didn't really have much meat to them. There was the fact that there were promotions.
You don't like meat, you're vegan.
Yeah, man, I don't even have a counter. That one was just good. Oh, I have to remember that one.
Sorry, the opportunity was there.
No, that one was good. Well done. All right, thank you all for watching. That was the peak of the stream. And I'll see you next time. No. Yeah. You've completely derailed. Yeah, no, there wasn't any meat to them. Like, the fact that there were promotions progressed the story for, like, these later episodes. They can be a bit different, but there wasn't anything really to them. And this was a much better... I mean, this was a Tindy story. You know, we got some development on Tindy. You know, it had more of, like, a plot even that just went along. It wasn't just referencey, and the references were incorporated into the narrative very well. And I think this structure works well, where the Tendi plot is much more meaty. It's much, there's much more to it. And then the B plot of, like, Boimler and Rutherford was more lighthearted, and they could, they don't have to do something amazing. That could be similar to what we would have gotten in season 1 or 2. Because, we've got the A plot that's really pulling a lot of the weight and making it something new. Yeah, is that just a thing on the channel now, and just saying it's got a lot of meat? Which, like, that's the plot that has a lot of quinoa in it. Yeah, we'll have to work on that. We need more in-jokes. That vegan joke was worth a super chat. They left. Alex! I'll let them know they made $20 off. That one was good. I have to write that down. God, it's gonna take a few minutes for me to get back on track from that. Thank you for the super chat, David C. Much appreciated. But yeah, I mean, an example where the whole with the Raven. I'm sure this starship has a class name. I just don't know it off the top of my head. But the Raven style ship, like, the script called for a ship. Might as well make it an older ship class that, we know. The fans go, hey, look, it's the Raven, That's a lot more natural. But even then, the fact where, like, it's the ship Tendi used to go to as a kid. If we make it Federation, we can give the reason for Tendi joining Starfleet, which, the path from Orion pirate to Starfleet officer is quite a leap, As soon as she said, I used to come here with my sister, I'm like, that's why you're in Starfleet, it's really natural. And at that point, you basically need, you don't just, it's not just you can put a reference in here to an old ship, you need an older class of Federation vessel that you can just throw down on this planet. Alex? Oh, no, not Alex. Never mind. We're live on the internet. Please do not swear. I don't know. I was trying to think of something funnier to say. Dell,
You're telling me to behave because I don't know how to do that either. It runs in the family.
You would have left it on here, so it's not down here.
Sorry.
Alex, your vegan joke got us $20. There we go.
You're welcome. I'll be here next week, maybe.
It's a good thing you didn't actually prepare and leave before the stream then, because you're going to be a bit in the background for this whole thing, but, we made $20 off it. Del, I know what class that ship is, but I can't put it up. Oh, you're done being old now. I don't know. Okay, now I have to look it up, because I thought it actually was like a Raven class. There you go, Del, you've done this. Star Trek USS Raven? Is it? It is.
That's so
Why is it
Raven?
USS? It's civilian.
Can it also predict the future?
Ha! I knew it! It's a Raven type. It doesn't have a class. It's just, it's the Raven type vessel. And of course, the picture on Memory Alpha is of this episode, because by God, these fans are quick. I once tried to write an article for Memory Alpha on Soji's mom when we were watching Picard. David C has a limited supply of money, Alex. We're not going to get tips for all these. But, I did. And then, I think it got taken down, like, practically instantly for, I don't even know why or maybe even it is, I don't remember. They didn't like it. I'm like, wow, I'm never going to write a page for Memory Alpha again. But yeah. Going on this ship, I don't really have anything. It occurred to me that, oh, you can't see the screen, that I could see it being a sort of Mike McMahon thing to do, to where this is very clearly the mystery box. We keep coming back to the mystery box, and the resolution is that this isn't the mystery box. Like, it just doesn't get... I don't think it just wouldn't get resolved, but, like, it's just such a minor thing. It's resolved in the after credits of the final episode, where we just find out... I don't know, it's just some guy who can't figure out how the ship works, and he's accidentally been destroying stuff. Like, there's some sort of meta commentary on all the mystery box plot lines in modern Trek. But it probably is going to be more substantial. I did see someone, I think the only theory I've seen, I don't think it came from chat, it was that this is from the species that built the whale probe, which... I feel is just like a grasp at empty straws, but also, I'm like, this is Lower Decks 4, the one with the whales. You got the whale probe in the intro. If, like, I could see McMahon secretly just doubling down on being the one with the whales because it's Star Trek 4, and they do the movie posters for all the seasons. But yeah, I don't know. I don't go for mystery boxes. I think the mystery box has whale plot inside. Was it you who originated that, Dow? I don't know the ships well, and my brain always gets stuck on the Oberth class because Oberth sounds funny to me. I know the classic ones really well, especially from Eagle Moss. I used to probably know, like, I could just tell you all of them, except, like, maybe 2. And nowadays, I might be a little weaker because it's been a while. And I'm not very good with modern, because modern Star Trek has a lot of alien languages, and it has a lot of foreign languages for Federation ships, which is great, because it makes sense that the Federation ships would all be a bunch of foreign languages, but also, it means that a good proportion of the classes I don't know how to pronounce, so I can't remember them. But yeah, I pride myself in my knowledge of those old starship, the classes, and even like the vessel names sometimes. And maybe it's part of the big bad of the season arc. Why do we need one? You know, we're 30% of the way through the season, and we really don't even have a big bad. Like, this hasn't even interacted with the Federation yet. And the joke of, like, a different alien ship gets destroyed in the exact same way got old on the second time, really. I think it came up on Buffer Time. Maybe it was in the Discord? I don't know. I can't remember where. I probably was the guy who does Buffer Time, like, because there's a Discord we all have, and that's why I read it. Yeah. Buffer Time. The guy who's got way better thumbnails than this. My thumbnails are so cluttered, and every time I see one of the Buffer Times in my sub box, I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that design? Yeah, I will say there's still... It is feeling a little weird that Lower Decks kind of feels like it has to wrap up a lot of these arcs in one episode. I don't know if that's something it always did, and maybe it's gotten a little more noticeable now, or if it used to take a bit more time with him. But, like, it especially shows here where Mariner, who is, I feel, pretty emotionally intelligent, except the random time she's not, is like, Tindy is very clearly not comfortable with them going to Orion with her, and Mariner should probably realize that. But it was even, she has the line that, like, we want to see the real you, and it's like, the real, like, even before this episode, it was very clear the real Tindy is not on Orion. It is on Starfleet. It's on these ships. Like, Tindy's rejected the Orion life. And then, way at the end, you have Tindy rightfully concerned about, like, I didn't want you guys to see the real me, because that's what Mariner called it. And then Mariner is the one who comforts Tindy, like, Tindy, what the heck? This isn't the real you. The real you is the you choose to be. It's like, did Mariner learn a lesson sometime in the past, like, half hour that I didn't realize? Like, it can feel a bit rushed like that, or, maybe there wasn't, I don't know, maybe could, like, the captain have ordered Mariner and Terrell to go with Tindy, because like they just happened to be there. Maybe Tindy needed escort. Or Mariner suggested it, and then the captain was like, "Great idea, you two go." And then the captain's ordered it. So even though Tendy's a bit uncomfortable, you know, Freeman doesn't realize it. That's a very Freeman thing to do, is not notice how other people are feeling. Yeah, no, that would have been much better. Just have Mariner and Terrell, like, be super excited, and then the captain approved it. Because it also felt weird that, like, Tindy could just approve them on that mission. No, yeah. That's like my one writing complaint there. That feels like a pretty simple fix. It would have been much more in character. But it kind of everything else. You know, I've said before, if your setup's a little weak and you get a stronger episode out of it, I'm not going to fuss too much, but it really annoys me that I've so quickly thought of a better way to do it. This Sunday, 2 p.m. on the Best of Trek, Worst of Trek channel, Buffer Time. Plug. Yes, No, I won't be there. I've got stuff to do this weekend. We're moving. We got the house. I think like 2 weeks. We're gonna start moving into the new house. So there's stuff I gotta do on the weekends again. But I'll probably be on some, especially between like Lower Decks and Discovery. I'll probably try and make an effort to show up on at least like a Buffer Time a month, probably 2, just because. I don't know. It's still a little up in the air what we do. I'd love to do Doctor Who between the Star Treks because it's not on strike. The problem with Doctor Who, not to get on what is quite frankly a very long tangent, the 9th and 10th Doctor stuff, the first of the modern show, which is where we'd probably want to start, the American DVDs and Blu-rays run at a different speed than everyone else, and so I can't just put my disc in and the audience can't put the disc in. We all actually have to be watching the exact same version, otherwise we'll get out of sync. If you want to look it up, just trust. It's a big rabbit hole. It's crazy, but yeah, it's just slightly off, and it's like I can't do a watch along with that, but we'll see what happens. God, hang on, I think I've missed some messages. What, Jack Slot? Wait, have I missed some messages from you? But girls with that haircut tend to like girls looks like that. Wait, I feel like I've missed the first half of this conversation. I don't know, I feel like I've totally missed something here. But Tindy does have fantastic hair. It's actually kind of like Alex's hair, except green. Let's see. Yeah, I've already talked about this. I really like the Boimler Rutherford. I like what they've done with them being roommates and just how sync they are. It's a fun little bit of comedy just watching them. I mean, this whole B plot I really liked. It was more the like absurdist kind of things. Mark Twain was maybe a bit of a reference for a reference sake, but really having the like strong A plot there is like fine. The A plot's where we get our our tofu, and this is where we get our you know, a bit more of our comedy stuff, which I think is a format that's working very well for Lower Decks. Yeah, Orion, our first well, not quite our first. It's our first look at Orion itself, but we really don't get a lot of Orion in the franchise. It's kind of it's maybe not so much now, but it really was one of the neglected races because they show up. They're like, I don't even know. You see some Orions in TOS, and then I think they don't show up till like Enterprise. Someone will correct me. Is there really no Orions between TOS and Enterprise? That doesn't sound right, but there aren't any Orion ships. Someone put that in chat. Because, God, that's quite a stretch. But, you know, they're getting some attention now. But, yeah, I mean, I just enjoyed a lot of the Tindy backstory. I love just the image of child Tindy in the Federation ship, like dreaming of it's such a good story, like especially with what we've already established. Where Tindy is very much a character, that her story arcs. You're correct, really. No Orions between TOS and Enterprise, huh? That almost implies, I wonder if there were fan stories that they, like, died out or went extinct or something between TOS and TNG. Huh. But, yeah, anyway, because Tindy's storylines are often a lot, to do with minorities or marginalized, groups of people, kind of like generically. And that just adds to kind of the idea of, like, someone who grew up in the kind of horrible, I mean, she was in the 5th largest family of Orion. I guess you can't quite say it horrible, but, you know, the situation she hated, just playing as a child, dreaming of becoming that Starfleet officer, and she's gonna be a captain someday now. Like, that's a demand, Kurtzman, McMahon, she's gonna be a captain one day. But, I adore that image and just that little, because I mean, we already kind of knew she always wanted to join Starfleet, but just, I mean, first off, the mental image of, like, baby Tindy, but yeah, just kind of that, I love that star ride, dreaming of going out into the stars, and then she did. It was great. Not too much. I mean, little things. I like the little joke about some stuff we want you to move out of the garage. I don't think I have too much to say about Tindy's family. Terrell being a mix of a very good and a very bad scientist. Very good, like, inquiring about the Orion pheromone stuff. Very bad in, like, she sees 2 Orions get in a fight and conclude that Orions usually resolve conflict by violence. It's like, sample size of 1, Terrell. This is why you got kicked out of the Vulcan Science Academy directive. Whoever the hell controls the Vulcan ships these days, I never know. It's hard keeping track. Alex, you'll have to remember for me. You'll remember Vulcan history, won't you?
I remember Spock history.
I mean, that's a good chunk of Vulcan history, but weirdly enough, Enterprise, really focusing on Vulcan High Command and, like, who's in charge of the Vulcans, really confused in my head who's in charge of the Vulcans. Like, I don't understand it, but I think it is High Command, even though High Command kind of gets, like, ousted, or is it the Science Directorate? No one knows the Vulcans. They just do. They are.
Aren't we all just are?
Aren't we all just are? I think. No, I mean, I like this. They got a lot of good jokes out of Mark Twain.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
what?
Look.
That's just the KFC guy with more fabulous hair.
I don't think I can get hang on. Oh god, Cornel Sanders?
That's not how you spell it.
Well, yeah, I was never gonna get
it's
it right.
Colonel Sanders.
Or the British do it different. That is, I mean, hang on a minute. Hang on. Add display capture.
Colonel
Is there
Sanders.
anything on any of these monitors that I can't show? No, we're good. There we go. Okay, yes. I didn't know if that was going to show OBS, but this is why I hide my stream key. Boop. There we go. I'm sure this isn't we're not the first people to notice it. Hang on, those are my glasses, but like black. There we go. Mark Twain is Colonel Sanders confirmed. There, Boimler's even better because he's knocked out the cyborg thing. There should have been like a fried chicken joke in there. All right, you get rid of you. Delete display capture. Put that back. There we go. No, they got a lot of mileage. I loved... I mean, I just love the kind of escalating joke where they worked it out because they're best friends. They tried to get the captain to work it out. Honestly, there we go. How about this image, Alex? Again, I need a face cam for you and my streams.
Still just Colonel Sanders. One's a monster Colonel Sanders, but it's Colonel Sanders and Black Colonel Sanders.
These were both strong plots, I feel. I mean, the B plot was strong in a B plot. You couldn't really make an episode out of this.
Well, you can make an episode out of anything if you're desperate enough.
You couldn't make a good episode out of this. All right, then.
That's not what you said. You just said you couldn't make an episode. There was no stipulation it had to be good.
Great, now you want KFC? No, we've established this is a vegan stream. You shouldn't have given us that $20, David C. You can't get... We buy KFC with your $20
if
just
they
to taunt you.
If they had $5 and they still have $5 for the $5 snack pack.
Don't promote KFC. We're vegan.
Sponsored by KFC.
We're not sponsored. Do they have a vegan option? Tell you what, who's a good vegan company is Burger King. They just don't have any restaurants nearby.
They have one.
They're great.
Like on Pines.
Burger King is one where they do a lot of things where if you're not vegan or don't look into that a lot, they sound absolutely insane. But
Sorry,
to everyone else...
We're not sponsored by KFC,
Yeah.
but we are sponsored by David C.
We definitely are, yes. He's given us a lot of money. He's probably bought at least one of these modular
Think
buildings.
of having porterhouse steak tonight.
Bad David C. Well, then again, he gives us all his money. He can't afford to be vegan. You know, there we go. That's the problem. But no,
You're vegan. I'm vegetarian.
the Burger King does things where, like, they'll offer, mostly in other countries that are, you know, better than the U.S., they'll offer things like they have a vegan patty with bacon, like actual bacon. They have a meal where, like, you just randomly either get, like, a vegan burger or their normal burger. They just don't tell you. They put one of them in the bag. Which I wonder is a way to get a discounted vegan burger, but, well, like 50% of the time. But, like, to people who don't really do vegan stuff, those are, like, baffling, like, who the hell is that for? And I read that, you are amazing, and you seem like a company who is genuinely trying to promote veganism around the world. Like, it's... Unlike some companies that are McDonald's.
I should get McDonald's.
McDonald's is the reason you have to check if fries are vegan. Like, they're just the reason. Yeah, I thought we might get a bit more in, like, Tindy actually spent more time as an Orion pirate, which I guess we already knew, because she really got into, like...
An Orion?
She must you really get the impression she did spend a lot of time actually full on doing Orion pirate stuff, which, you know, was implied that she was, like, in some ways on a pirate ship, like from the Deep Space Nine episode, whatever. But I guess, you know, no, you can easily deduce that from training to be the Prime or whatever, Optimus Prime, and yeah, she just went out. This is gonna be the sort of thing that in, like, 10 years people are going to be calling for, like, the Tindy prequel series, and, like, 5% people are going to be calling for that, and 95% of people are going to be like, God, no. It's like the Section 30, the Next Generation's Section 31 series is in, the generation after ours, not TNG. Just like, no, I don't want Spy Tindy.
Spy Tindy, Spy Tindy, Spy Tindy, Spy.
Jack Slaw, that'll just be the theme of the... there's a quote I had to go to library to find from some great writers back before there was an internet. Ah, yes, back before there was an internet. Where they talk about how the dictionary in the control of what is the right way... Where they talk about how the dictionary in the control of what is the right way is wrong. And I used to throw them at the face that teachers would correct my spelling in the way I want to. Right, you know what you should do? Is,
Chris Create a YouTube.
This only works if the teacher actually is a hypocrite. But Shakespeare made up something like 70% of the words. I might even be, I'm lowballing my guess. I think it was more. But like if you look at the amount of unique words Shakespeare made up and the amount of unique words in his plays, it's like the vast majority of his words are totally made up. And he's like some sort of literary genius. If I made up 70% of the words in my college essays, I would have failed. Like, I know he didn't literally mash his face on the keyboard. Like, you know, and back in the day, he would have just poured ink on his face and then mashed it on the paper. That's not how he made up words. But some of the time it was. You know, some of the times they literally had no meaning, no relation to any word in English at the time. They only mean something now. It's like, come on.
Remember, everything wrong with the English language can be traced back to Shakespeare and the French.
No, I was gonna say it's the French. I've never seen something that was a problem with the English language that I traced back to Shakespeare. If you're not aware, I think this has come up on the channel a few times. I used to joke that everything wrong with the English language was because of the French. Because, like, you know how people complain about American town names and state names, like Arkansas and stuff?
Or, you know, the word colonel.
It's because they're French. Is Colonel French or Spanish? Don't counteract me live, Alex.
I believe it's French. It's an L pronounced like an R.
I don't know. That's a Spanish. No, that's a lot. I don't look up Colonel. But the point is everything. And I used to joke about this. And whenever I'd be like, "What is this word like that?" I'd Google it, and the lineage just goes back to French. And it happened so many times. I've legitimately never seen a counterexample where there's a problem with English and it wasn't because of the French. And so I'm convinced now English isn't a bad language. It's French that's a bad language. I should do, maybe that's what I do instead of reviewing Star Trek in like this year-long gap between Lower Decks and Discovery. I just do my like controversial hot takes. Like, English actually isn't a bad language. The imperial system is just better than the metric system in every way except the meter and the yard. The imperial system is just better. You know, the imperial system should just screw the yard, take the meter, and that's why there are French words in English, everybody. Shakespeare came up with the word drag, and it relates to men who played women in his plays. I mean, see, that fits into English, you know? That's not some crazy French thing. It's not spelt with 2 X's and a W, as all French words are.
Well, if it's spelt with an X, then it would be a plural.
You know how I used to read French? You look at a French word, right? You remove all the vowels. You remove some of the consonants. There's no rules, by the way. You just you do it by your gut. You add back some probably different letters, just kind of to make the word kind of flow, you know? It's kind of like your gut, and you say that. And I was told by someone who'd studied French for like 10 years and lived in France for a bit that my pronunciation was amazing. I just had an American accent. So, you know, I think French, is it even a language? I've been to France, and I don't even know. Like, I don't think it's a real language. I've been to France twice, and they just put all the set dressing up again. It's not real France. I hope David C is not French.
It says FU, but it's spelled with like an X,
yeah,
a 7.
Doesn't exist. This Carcassonne mouse pad I've got that's got a picture of Carcassonne on it. No, that's from like a movie. That's from a Robin Hood movie. Movies aren't real. It's a Nottingham. See? The Carcassonne is actually Nottingham.
Knotted ham.
Jack Slaw, I remember where I was getting marked of ant. Is that and then it was added to the dictionary. I wanted to hit him with the book. Yeah, I don't. I mean, some English teachers are just bad like that. I had a lot of English teachers who were kind of like, I feel like the majority of my English teachers have been like, the purpose of language is to communicate, and so like, if that's working, then language is working, especially the higher you go, like in university. But then again, I had a very, I mean, I did English in Seattle, so in every sense of the word, I had a very...
Seattle sounds like Owl City. So.
Man, you ruined my joke of in every sense of the word, I had a very liberal English teacher. Now I'm ruining it. Like, when we could write essays on stories, they interpreted stories so broadly as to include Greek pottery, which wasn't a joke. That was the example the teacher gave of Greek pottery. But... I like how this is the one everyone showed up for. I'm like, half the time I'm not even reviewing Lower Decks, but, Lower Decks! Oh, there's my controller. Lower Decks is hard to do, because, like, there's not as much to kind of dig into, because it is kind of a lot of comedy and jokes, and so you can say, like, I like the plot line. This is why. Like, I like the story of Tindy. You know, I like the Tindy's origin. And after you do that part, you're left with a lot of I liked this joke and this joke and this joke and this joke. And so, this is why I let myself go off the rails a bit more with Lower Decks. Yeah. Going on. I mean, they did Orion really well, I think. The planet and the looks. Oh yeah, I forgot to call out New Seattle, and I've just registered another Pacific Northwest reference. Some people have told me it's because they produce Star Trek in Vancouver, which is Canadian Northwest, Pacific North. Canada might call it the Pacific Southwest, but there's the USS Vancouver, but other than that, all the references have been American Southwest, like particularly Washington, and they've been very centered around Seattle. Like Ash Tyler's from Issaquah. I've been to Issaquah, and again, I'm not even sure it exists. I'm just someone who doesn't believe my eyes, apparently. There's the whole conversation about how he says it's Seattle because that's all people know, even though he's actually from Issaquah. It gets simplified to Seattle. Like, that is someone who lives in the Pacific Northwest, by God, and not Seattle, but someone who likes Seattle. Wouldn't even surprise me if they're just me. They live in Spokane, but they're liberal, so they don't like Spokane. But no, Spokane's fine, but it's not Seattle. I also realized, staring at this frame for so long, that chandelier is designed to be like the spaceships, the TOS remastered Orion spaceships. I don't think, were they like that in TOS? I don't think I've ever seen unremastered TOS. I've just seen some pictures and frames of it. And by the way, Tindy has got some fantastic expressions throughout this whole episode. I mean, everyone does. I mean, Talyn's got her whole range of expressions in this episode. Let's put it that way. Yeah, you wanna reference images for Tindy expressions? Come to this episode. Is this animated, like, to be more film grainy and old-timey? Because, God, I love Lower Decks' attention to detail. It is. I didn't even register that for these interior scenes, but look at this. And then look at this. I swear this is a little more, like, film grainy because it's supposed to be old-timey. And it's in the holodeck, so, you know, the holodeck can actually make it old-timey. Yeah, I can... There was nothing in here I can't show. I almost thought we were going to get a reveal that all Orions actually do produce the pheromones, but Tindy has some sort of counter to it, which, I remember theorizing that in the early days, like before even Lower Decks showed up. That would have been before YouTube. Well, before Star Trek YouTube. Yes, Alex?
There's a lot of green on the screen.
It is an episode that takes place on Orion.
Nice.
The origin of the sexy green women that Kirk allegedly had sex with.
I don't remember this at all.
That's because Kirk never had sex with a green lady, but that's the pop culture thing, is that Kirk goes out into space and has sex with green women.
No, that's Riker.
not even he has sex with a green woman. We've just established there weren't any. But if there were, Riker definitely would have had sex with him. I'm not surprised they did Mark Twain with no references to... Oh, I'm surprised they did Mark Twain with no references to the Data time travel episode. That would have crossed the line of too specific to me. Like, Mark Twain is the reference. And I had this as a complaint in the last 3 episodes as well, where a lot of times they went too specific, or like there's no point for this to be here, so it just detracts from the story. The one with a little Betazoid gift box thing gets zapped by the like inner light mind probe simulated life. I love how Lower Deck simultaneously gets me to talk like some stereotypical comic nerd, like in issue 187 of Star Trek from the Tamarian inner light mind probe device, but also like an idiot, 'cause like, I don't know what these things are called. My knowledge of Star Trek is encyclopedic, but I also don't particularly care to have it be encyclopedic.
It's encyclopedic, you just don't know the terms.
It's encyclopedic, you just haven't finished the whole encyclopedia yet. You've finished the ship chapter. I finished like the alien cultures chapter. I haven't quite gone through the alien technologies chapter of the encyclopedia. But yeah, that was like, that kind of, I felt, even detracted from the inner light, to the point of like, I guess these things are everywhere. This happens so common that it's like a joke they brush off. And it contradicted that the boxes supposedly aren't sentient. I felt it, yeah, you know, I just thought it would have been too much if they directly went into the data. Like, Mark Twain was enough. I'm embarrassed that I forgot the cartoon half-naked Orion guys sort of hot. I mean, they're supposed to be, so that's just the artist did a good job. I mean, how many times have I called Tindy super cute? Like, you know, she does not need what they have. She admits that. I forgot about that. Yeah, I kind of like that scene as well, where she got super embarrassed. Where's Tindy blushing? Orions have red blood confirmed. No, Tindy's characterization was great. I kind of like how she was more integrated with her culture before Starfleet. Even though she loved the science, it kind of wanted to get out. I like that. I don't know. It's just a really good bit of character, I feel, and it adds more depth to Tindy, who is, of course, the best character. And it is kind of funny, too. And hey, we're supposed to be a comedy, so there we go. That's good. Honestly, I'm not even really here for the comedy in Lower Decks anymore. Sometimes they really get it good, but I'm here for, like, the character work and just the good stories, and that's why this really felt like a return to form. Like, you can't just be the comedy and reference fest. I don't even know if Lower Decks was ever just like Reference Fest, because, I mean, the first few episodes of Lower Decks have some really strong character. Like, the Envoys, the second episode, is the one where you learn Mariner's, like, the best friend in the entire universe. You get really strong Mariner character work, Boimler character work. Even the first episode, it's more basic because it's a pilot, but it does a good job establishing Mariner and Boimler, who are kind of our focuses for a lot of the early points of the show. And I've said before, this is like a direct quote from maybe McMahon I've read before, but Mariner is the main character of Lower Decks. It's an ensemble piece, but Lower Decks is and kind of always will be the story of Mariner. When Lower Decks ends naturally, it'll probably be because Mariner has finally started moving up in rank and like kind of gotten over all the issues she had at the start of the series. So yeah, I mean, there's also Banana Hot, you know, from Lower Decks, but yeah. Can we get one more shot of Green Ursula? I thought that as well. I even wondered if I should look up if it was the same voice. Hang on, Alex, you're here. There we go.
Yeah, that is straight up just a green.
That is just green Ursula. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that. It has to be a reference. Hang on. Memory Alpha's fast. Does anyone remember her name?
Green Ursula.
Star Trek Memory. Alpha. Oh god, something. I need a bigger desk. Something borrowed. Something not blue, but green. Of course, the title being a classic reference to the Doctor Who episode, The Big Bang, in which the TARDIS is something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Don't correct me, that's the joke. I know what it actually is. Act 3. There's only 3 acts, wow. Act 2 then. I'm not gonna spend too long on this. Plasma manifold, Corinthian named Quo over the presence of Sarita. Oh, that's the other plot. Pheromone Dungeon. There we go. That's gonna be good enough. By the way, this is actually a Memory Alpha page, Pheromone Dungeon. In her youth, Tavana Tindy was a frequent patron of a Pheromone Dungeon owned by Ingrita, who does not appear to have a Memory Alpha page. She does not. God dang it. So we're never gonna know if it was intentionally an Ursula reference. It's been 3 days. We'll never know.
Can't you just look up her voice actor? Like, insert character name voice actor?
If it was actually Ursula, I think someone would have known. Little Mermaid's old, though. Like, is that actress even alive? Because you're getting to the point where there can't be too many actors from that period who are still kicking. Let alone actually gonna record.
In the 90s.
Is it? Oh. I thought it was...
You're thinking of Snow White.
I thought it was from when, like, my dad was a kid. The Little Mermaid. God dang it, 2023. Get out of my way. 89? No, it was 89.
I was closer than you were.
I mean, I thought these were both really good plot. This was a great A plot. The other thing was a great B plot. I was 17 when it came out, youngling. Yeah, I remember my dad mentioning when he was a kid seeing it, so.
Your dad couldn't have been a kid because it was 10 years before you were born.
10 years? Yeah, so, I mean, maybe not a kid, but they were something of a child. I don't know. Look, it's not a problem. It's not important.
It is when you're being factually incorrect.
We're never factually incorrect on this channel. We only use the most scientific of terms.
Like turbos.
Exactly. Thank you for reminding me. But yeah, I mean, I loved as well just little details, like when they're flying the ship without the window. We'll ignore that detail. Dang it, if only I had my Raven out, I could check if I think the Raven actually did have windows, because it was a bit different, but all their hairs are blopping about. I don't know, see the most scientific of terms. But yeah, I would have loved, see, I'd love to go back when it could become feasible again to doing episode-specific characters for the thumbnail. It's just totally infeasible right now. But there'd be episodes like this where it's like, am I Mark Twain? Or am I, like, one of these 3 outfits? I mean, the obvious answer is one of these 3 outfits, but it'll feel like you're missing out on Mark Twain a little bit.
No, the answer is Mark Twain.
No, it's these 3 outfits.
I'm the one drawing the thumbnail, so,
Not if we're doing one a week, you're not. That's like I got a proper employee. I can tell what to do, and they watch the episode in advance and all this junk. But, Pat Carroll did the voice of Ursula in 1989, Little Mermaid. See, look, now I gotta remember, what the hell was that Orion's name?
it was Queen Ursula.
And now I've opened the tab for Colonel Sanders. Alright, let's get back to Pheromone Dungeon on Memory Alpha. Memory Alpha. Star Trek, boom.
Instead of Memory Omega.
You know who's just gonna know this? Reddit's gonna know this, because that character is not showing up. Star Trek Andrea. No, that's not what I wanted to look up. How do you spell Ursula? It does not come up in the episode discussion, which actually...
S-U-L-A.
It's actually kind of remarkable that the word Ursula does not appear in the Reddit discussion for this episode. Oh, there we go. Did anyone else notice the pheromone woman? Sure, looked like Ursula. I don't think it was the same. She died of pneumonia at the age of 95 last year. That would have saved some time. But...
Still, but when this was produced...
So it was old enough that the adult actors could have been dead.
This episode was probably voice acted last year, Nathan. It takes at least 9 months for an animation to be completely done from early production to being sent out.
I mean, it's only a year, you know, in between the
But if
dates.
she died
But
last year, there's still the chance it could be her.
we're not gonna ignore that. That's the sort of thing where, if it actually was true, it would have come up. Like, you would have known as well. But also, if you're 95 years old and have pneumonia, you're probably not gonna go record an episode, like a voice line for a cameo. Like, I don't know.
You don't know that. Does it sound like the current Ursula?
I have no idea. Look, we're moving on from Ursula, because now that I'm here, I want to see the Reddit a little bit. This was fun to do.
Chat, yell at Nathan for ignoring me.
You're not even supposed to be here today.
Well, I can't find my...
Oh, yeah, I mean, people are saying this. Talyn is good. I'm enjoying Talyn in Lower Decks. She's establishing herself. She's finding a place. Del and David are now just having Mark Twain time. Oh my god, is her title getting longer? I haven't even noticed that. Her title's getting longer every time an episode about her happens. Devana Tindy, Mistress of the Winter Constellations, Tip of the Moonlit Blade, Prime Daughter and Heir to the Crime Throne, Holder of the Sacred Chalice of Reese, Heir to the Holy Rings of Betazoid, Daughter of the Sacred House, Fifth House, whatever. Every time I forget Roxana's title, and as I watch through TNG and Deep Space Nine, I slowly remember it, and it's like a competition to say it with her until the episode I finally remember. Good luck. I can't wait till it's like the battle in the title sequence. It just gets a bit longer every time. Yeah, I mean, super positive, but hey, it's r/Star Trek. They ban negativity over here. Yeah. It's like a better version of the Ezri episode of Deep Space Nine, where she sees her family. That's true. I mean, I like Ezri too. Ezri and Tendi. I'm on Ezri and Tendi now. Can we do that? Ezri's still alive. Ezri said I think both the actress for Ezri and Jadzia have said they'd love to come back. Now, I don't know how you'd get Jadzia back, but I want that now. That's my dream Lower Decks episode, is Ezri's in it, and Tendi's also here. Because here's a poll for the chat. Who here likes Ezri? I like Jadzia, but I also really like Ezri. I feel like I often actually take because like Ezri and versus Jadzia, like Ezri is Jadzia's replacement, and I liked Ezri. Seven is Kess's replacement, and I liked Kess. And who's the other pair where like people argue between? And I always seem to pick the minority one. I'm not gonna say that because it's a spoiler and Alex is in chat. Don't look at chat. But I said don't look at chat. Don't stop looking at chat. You'll love this. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away.
That was straight up my boob.
I have to push you away. You're not leaving on your own. Go away. You want to learn about early character deaths? Like, go away.
Help me find my Switch charger and I'll leave. I'll pack up Comet's stuff and leave. I just can't find my Switch charger.
I've got one behind the TV.
Behind the TV?
I should be, yeah.
Cool, I'm stealing your Switch charger.
I like Esri, but in a very different way. I love how you say, I like Esri, but in a very different way than the way I love Jadzia. Or bring Jadzia back. Ooh, in the Mirror Universe? I mean, yeah, that's a way you could do it if you wanted to do the Mirror Universe. I don't know if I'd want to go back to, like, Deep Space Nine era Terra Universe. I don't know. Did I say Terra Universe? Oh god, Mirror Universe. Terran, whatever. But, Pete Carroll always had a distinctive cigarette-smoking voice. Pat Carroll. Oh, sorry, yeah. I haven't seen The Little Mermaid in a very long time.
Never underestimate the influence of body language.
But, you know, I liked it. Who's the other one? Lower Decks Mirror Universe. Actually, now that you've said it, I'm amazed. I bet the only reason Lower Decks hasn't done it is because they'd go to the, like, post-Deep Space Nine Mirror Universe. I mean, heck, Lower Decks could just write, and then the Terran Empire regrouped and, you know, do classic Mirror Universe stories. Stowe did that, didn't it? Star Trek Online, you've got a proper Terran Empire. But I feel like Lower Decks, historically, I mean, they did the Ferengi well. Oh, yeah, that's right. Ram and Lita are in this season, aren't they? I forgot about that. But, so we're about to really test that claim. But, I don't know if they'd really continue that Mirror Universe story, but I am surprised. We had, like, a holographic Shax in a Mirror Universe or something, or was it a dead Shax from the Mirror Universe? But it is interesting. I wonder if maybe, like, McMahon just doesn't like it. It's as simple as that. Is nobody else gonna mention... Pretty nice hump dungeon. Yeah, New Seattle's got one too, which does feel very Seattle. Like, liberal Seattle finally exists in the liberal utopia it's always wanted. I don't know. Seattle's already something of a liberal utopia from how I remember living there, so I can't even imagine what Seattle would do if it actually didn't have a federal government looking over it and, like, God, that... but yes, I mean, so many Seattle reps, so many Pacific Northwestern we even had the, like, USS Puget Sound, and I think Canada also has the Puget Sound, but by God, there's some writer up there who's really doing their all. They love this region, and they are gonna make it show. Is that the Ravens Clash / Runabout? How do you confuse the Runabout with a ship that size? The B story was clearly there to provide a respite from the A story. I mean, I've talked about that. But yeah, I mean, it's super positive, which, you know, what do you know? You'd have to really mess up for any sign of negativity to creep into Star Trek, like r/Star Trek. Like, for example, the very short treks. You'll see some negativity. It's generally constructive, like, it's not for me, or like discussions on why it's not landing, but it's there. Which, you know, you really gotta mess up to show that. Favorite episode of the season so far is not a difficult claim to make, but, yeah, this was really good. I love more episodes like that. I hope the Ferenginar episode is gonna be something deeper, like with Deep Space Nine. I mean, the Voyager episode was leaning on the, like, more just reference fest side. There was a little more to it with the promotions, and generally just the image of what if Fear, the salamander babies, and that Irish guy were the villain is just, like, enough for a premise episode. Look, it's Voyager! Things get weird! You try writing 21 seasons of 24th century Star Trek. It's, Carlos, hello there. Just realized that Lower Decks is becoming boring. Just as I was talking about how it's becoming interesting again. I mean, yeah, fair enough if it's not for you. After the Strange New Worlds crossover, actually, I could really start to see why. And I'll admit, that, I think, has hurt some of Lower Decks' weaker episodes. Because having, at the same time, Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds characters, you can really see what a lot of people have been complaining about. And usually it's older generations that are complaining about this, where they talk so fast, or they're always in a rush. It's a bit too... energetic is one, but I'm looking for, like... I don't know, whimsical's not the right word. It's hard to explain, because it's not a criticism I share. But I agreed with that when it was literally standing right there, next to, like, the more traditional, or the usual shows. But I think Lower Decks can hold its own, as long as it's producing these good, like, we're getting Tindy backstory, we're getting actual things, we're getting tofu in the episodes. Quinoa, that was the other word I couldn't remember. I don't know these terms because that's not what veganism does anymore.
Quinoa is an egg replacement.
Yeah, I just buy, like...
Jackfruit's the meat replacement.
The problem is we're too advanced now. Like, the vegan food is better, but, like, what's a Beyond Patty? It's like, I don't know, it's
Beans?
just no, it's not. I mean, maybe it is, but it's not just like a bean patty. It's just like, it's not a singular thing.
I see
You
the
can't
word
identify.
Cisco. Is that San Francisco?
No, it's one of the captains. That's the one I told you not to read. Stop reading that. Go away. It's a good thing you got no memory. Just go. That's the one who's like Jesus, but you'll forget about that, so just don't worry.
Disco Jesus. San Fran Disco Jesus.
He's the guy you really don't want to be your teacher, and he does teaching now, so... But, okay, let me clarify. He's the guy you really don't want to be your teacher on the day you forgot to do your homework. Like, at that point, I just skip town. Like, you know... Could you imagine, like, just being the student who's disappointed Captain Sisko, and, like, he's all up in your face, like that time Worf killed some people, and it's like... I was waiting for the close the door before I said that, and Sisko's just, like, all up in his face, because, oof. That'd be a roller coaster, isn't it? You're a Star Trek fan. You see that you've got Professor Brooks. You're like, oh my god, yeah, it's Captain Sisko. And then like you go to watch some like episodes to like really, you know, get hyped for it. And it's one where Sisko shows his like angry side, and you're like, oh no, I've got Professor Sisko is my teacher. But no, I can't remember. I'm sure he's a cool guy. I think I remember hearing he could get kind of, like, intense on set and stuff, but, you know, he's just a guy you really don't want to make angry because, my god, I don't want Captain Sisko to be angry at me. Please, Captain Sisko, I'll do whatever you want. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to start wrapping up there. We did a good hour. That's pretty standard for Lower Decks. We finally got our whole crowd. Where have y'all been the past 2 weeks? I was starting to think you guys just didn't watch Lower Decks. But, let me check something, because I think next week we're still normal. Something might come up, but I shouldn't have to move it. It should still be Saturday. Yeah, next week we'll have the stream. Probably normal time, but definitely Saturday. The one after that, so episode 6, is probably going to be Friday, the 6th, PST, Pacific Standard Time. Sometime between 4:30 and 7, which I know isn't a great time, but the 7th is when we start doing, well, it's the wedding for one, but it's also when we get the keys to the house and start doing all the moves, and so I'm not going to be able to stream after the 7th, and hopefully we can still make the 14th. I'll have to get internet set up, maybe I have to come back here, I don't know, we might end up missing a week. Probably not 2, but we'll see. But so, episode 6 is where things start getting a little bit weird. An hour is plenty for Lower Decks. I mean, it's like 4 times... Yeah, no, it's 4 times the actual episode length. Usually we hit about double the runtime of the episode, but, it's not 4 times, because it's 60 minutes, not 100 minutes. Yeah, so it's about double. That's pretty consistent, but Lower Decks can be real quick when there's not an audience, because there's just not enough to say. But when you guys are here and can... usually it's you guys introduce topics for conversation, but with Lower Decks, you guys tend to introduce tangents, or you can keep tangents going. And it seems popular. This has been a great... it's been a popular stream, and it's been a fun one. So, we'll see. It's made me think... I don't know. I might try and experiment with other live streams, like maybe some gaming. There's those Star Trek games. What is it? Resurrection? That, like, not Telltale one. Well, Telltale, but, not Telltale made the... Resurgence? Stowe? I don't know. Could I do Stowe? That's one that, like, you guys could actually come there. Can you do missions with someone in Stowe? 'Cause there's, like, fleets in Star Trek Online. I don't know if you can bring people into specific missions, though. I've played Stowe. I've gotten kind of far in Star Trek Online once. But can I stream and do Stowe? That's a question I cannot answer until I actually see my internet connection. But I don't know, Stowe could be fun. We'll see. I'll think of stuff. I'll probably ask around. We'll diversify after Lower Decks, because already, I think I'll review some of my Lego sets, like the modulars. I'll get back into the starships, get those new unreleased ships I've got for Master Replicas. But we'll see. We'll do some experiments. Close. It's not being about for you. It has the narration that is not stimulating enough. Between Foundation and Invasion, the former left an impact, and the latter is being dragged out. Lower Decks feels... I think it has a compelling narrative that is stimulating. I'm not sure what Foundation and Invasion are references to, but... Wait, you're getting married? Yes. You will try to show up to, God, one of the things I just mentioned. I don't know. If you were offering to show up in Star Trek Online, that's pretty feasible. If you were offering to come, like, clean the house when we're moving, that's a little concerning. But, you can try your best. I just don't expect you to show up. Invasion is horrible. Oh, Star Trek Online. That's right. How far did I get? I remember resolving the Iconian stuff. Let me check. Star Trek... So, like, I don't know if it'll be interesting for me to replay it. Star Trek Online... stories? What do they call them? Yeah, Star Trek Online is a fantastic Star Trek story that is like it's a bad game. Star Trek Online is not a good game, but it's fantastic Star Trek. And so I don't actually know if it'd be interesting, especially to replay. Yeah, what the hell are what does Star Trek call them? So yeah, Klingon War, Temple Ambassador, Species, Klingon's Brain, Borg, Delta, Iconian War, Temporal Front. I think I did Temporal Front. Oh, that's the last one. Maybe I didn't do Temple Front. Maybe I beat the game. The arcs. Maybe I beat the game that was out for a while ago. 2010? I don't know. I did a lot. We probably won't do Stowe. The thing about that Telltale one, though, is I want to play it, but I don't think I want to do just, like, one a week. And I'm also a little worried if I play it live, I could get spoilers, especially so late. People might just assume that, like, I'm replaying it. Like, you guys wouldn't.
Just tag it as a blind playthrough.
I don't know. There's still someone could show up. You guys wouldn't. But, I can tell you. You're here right now, and I can tell you that I'm doing it blind. And even then, you guys wouldn't mean to, but I tend to be a lot, like, I really like going blind. Even if you're like, oh, this mission is like a big one, I'd be like, well, God, why? I'd consider that a spoiler. Like, it's, I really like going in like totally blind and never learning anything, but we'll see. Paradox has got that Star Trek game coming out too. And I was doing, remember when did anyone watch those old, the Star Trek 25th anniversary? God, that was one of the best videos I ever made, was the first, like, session of Star Trek the 25th anniversary. Well, no, that one was good. That one is actually on YouTube. The second episode I did was hilarious. Like, I got ambushed by Klingons and couldn't figure out the controls, so I sat there over the course of, like, genuinely 90 seconds as Klingons slowly, one by one, killed the entire away party by shooting them. Because it's an old game. You have, like, so much time to react. It was hilarious. I did the whole first, like, mission on that game. Didn't record. It was one of the best things I ever did. God, but, maybe I could try going in the back. The problem with the gaming was just, it was a lot of effort and time to do for so little gain. And N Squared performs. The gaming channel just doesn't. But we'll see. And it's kind of weird. Like, if I do Star Trek games, where do I put them? Do I put them on there? But I don't know. We'll see. If you have any ideas, let me know. Comments this video, any video, email me. I don't know. Don't tweet me. I'm not going to see it. Do I even link to Twitter anymore? But yeah, no. If any ideas, I'm up for ideas. But don't suggest anything that is under strike. So I can't do the Orville. I can't do Star Wars.
I mean, we can, but we're not gonna.
Yeah. That's the weird thing about Doctor Who as well, is because we have to be watching the same version, we have to stream it. And I don't know if you can stream Doctor Who. It looks like they're in the process of moving it over to Disney+. So I don't know if it'll be on Disney Plus in time to watch it. But, because I need to watch either something everyone can access or the British version. Because that's probably the thing people are going to stream. And right now I don't have the British version. But, or just skip to the 11th Doctor, or the classics. There's the movie. But there's reasons I don't want to do any of that. But even if it's on Disney Plus, I'm like, well, Disney is being stricken, but I think like everyone has access to Disney Plus. It's a little hard. I don't know.
You know who's not being stricken? Ep04. People who are doing Has-Been Hotel.
Yeah, but like Orville and Star Wars and stuff like that are kind of related to what I do already. Those are things I can discuss.
I feel like you could do reviews on the Has-Been pilot and Halva.
You could. But yeah, we'll see. I'm just not as into it like I am those other shows, and I don't think I'd have as much to say. Like, they'd be watch-alongs. Any of these as well. If I've seen it already, it's a watch-along. Like, that's just how it's gonna be. So that's why I actually needs a Doctor Who we can stream, because you need to sync up to a watch-along. And annoyingly, David Tennant's coming back, and it's the David Tennant stuff that I can't watch. Because it's... Look, if you want to know why, I'll explain it to you over the next, like, half hour about the different region audio encodings, but just trust me. Maybe I'll look up. I don't actually know how big of a difference is. It's like seconds over the whole episode, but it might be a problem. I don't know. You're rewatching Babylon 5? That's been one I've been meaning to get into. I think I saw it's coming out on, like, Blu-ray or something soon. But, I don't know if it'd work for this. I kind of want something I know will work, and
Steven Universe.
I should like Babylon 5. That's not the worst idea, actually.
Because it's on Hulu, at least the first 5 seasons.
I talk about it a lot. Maybe we could try Steven Universe Project, like, actually.
I mean, it'll be easier once we're in our own house.
I'm just worried about the music. I don't know if I have the talent to do the music. For Steven Universe Project, if you don't know, go to my channel and click on, like, the channels tab. Then just subscribe to that, and if we ever do it, you'll know about it. Steven Universe
It's
Project.
basically Foley Ship, but with Steven Universe.
If you ever watched Foley Ship of the Ring, which I would be, quite frankly, amazed if anyone here had watched Foley Ship of the Ring. We basically want to do that. But Foley Ship actually had a guy who could do music. And, I don't. But we'd see.
We also, I think, you should play Dongnam Rompa, but,
That's different. That's not... even if it's a YouTube thing, that's like something else. Remember when we made Artistic and Autistic? That's another channel that I have way too many channels for the amount of editing I actually do.
I mean, you could do what I do and just very lazily edit things. Oh, yeah. chat.
David C., you just need to donate enough to support, like, me giving my brother editing money, and then there'll be so much more content.
Hey chat, would you be interested in a video on my channel about my process of making the caricatures for Nathan's thumbnails? Like how to copy the Lower Decks style, as somebody who has not watched Lower Decks because Nathan told me not to.
No, we're doing this proper, like... We're doing it in order. I don't know what Lower Decks is gonna spoil. Like... we're... Yeah, no, I'm doing it properly with Alex. What are you on now? What did we watch? Oh, yes, they're about to watch The Offspring. That's right. That's the next episode.
But we were waiting for me to be off that time of the month because I get a little emotional.
Yeah. Dell would watch that. There you go. Dell would probably watch that. You probably got one view. Actually, your YouTube channel was linked in the description until this video when I switched it for your commission link. So,
I mean, it's Hessenite art everywhere.
They're also... You should be one of the channel... Hang on, let me check that.
Because I know it's Hessenite art on YouTube, because I recently did, like, a rebrand. And then, if you like my art stuff, I actually, next year, will be doing... Each month, I'll be doing a little, like... I have these things called drag buns. They're dragon bunnies. And I'll be doing one for every month of the year.
Well, let me just... Here's Steven Universe Project. Here's Hessenite Art. You've got a new channel banner.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't recognize it.
It's just background practice. I need to make a new one, and I'll probably make a video
I
of making
forgot
a new one.
how much I love the branding of Steven Universe Project. The icon for that Steven Universe Project, I think, is genuinely my favorite thing I've ever designed. I adore it.
Yeah. If we update the banner art, I'd want to
I'm sorry, that's the best. I love that one too. I did that, I'm pretty sure. I drew that Ruby and Sapphire. I'm so proud of it.
If you want to update that, I'd actually draw a specific drag bun for it.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't Jade, because my drag buns each have separate names.
We could probably update yours, but I'm so proud. You can only see, I think, Twitch. That Steven Universe Project should link to Twitch. Yep, it's in the description. You can see, I think, the full thing. I am so proud of that.
You, as a Lower Decks person, just commission me on artistry at Hessenite Art, which should be in the description.
That is in the description. It's... The new videos have it in the description. The old ones have the YouTube. But yeah, I'm so proud of that Ruby Sapphire banner I did. And even the splash screen. God, I love all of the art I did for Steven Universe Project. This is Artistic and Autistic because apparently Twitch doesn't let you put autistic in your name because it's potentially offensive.
But we all,
which I find offensive.
What's super funny is it started out as I was just artistic, Nathan was just autistic. Then we learned I have a touch of the tisms, and Nathan's an actual like art critic. My
Steven Universe Project icon is the favorite thing I've ever done. It's got the Ruby Sapphire gems, which I didn't make. I think I borrowed those. Maybe I made them from scratch. I don't remember. But the mic is the same colors and design as the slash in Garnet's glasses. The purple of the Twitch is Garnet's skin color, the like Twitch theme. I love the brand. Not that I don't know.
Pre-reveal Garnet or post-reveal Garnet, because those are two very different colors.
I think it was the one from Future. I don't remember, but I loved it, and I imagine that no one actually here has still seen Steven Universe Future, or Steven Universe, even though I constantly talk about it. But we should look into maybe trying Steven Universe Project.
I mean, we'll have plenty of space to like set up a streaming thing in the new house.
We might have to work out music. We need just like a friend who knows music.
Because I want to make fan music for like Hasbin Hotel and stuff.
Okay, let's do a poll right here, because like it looks like there's still the views are dropping, but I think a lot of the core audience is still here. Who here, probably like the same time. Wait, I don't know. We'll have to think about the timing, but assuming you could make it, who here would want to watch me and Alex dubbing a show, Steven Universe, from scratch, from memory, like all the sound effects, all the Foley, all the voices. It's kind of supposed to be like a fun comedy thing. We don't know what direction it'll take, but it's inspired by Foley Ship of the Ring, which was the same thing, but with Lord of the Rings. I don't think you can watch the making of that anymore because like copyright, but they didn't have archives. But I don't know who would watch that, because that's always something I felt I would have to wait until N Squared has a big enough audience I can throw at this, and then we'd have something of a, because it's I feel like it's only fun if there's people there as well as like the big thing.
Because then for like characters we don't know what their accent we want to give them.
So, streaming is not nearly as fun when no one's there. Like the few reviews I've had, you'd watch it, yeah.
I stream, and I know Ninjetta, my regular commissioner, I know they would probably watch because they were the one person that was watching my stream I did this past
David
summer.
C., you'd watch it. That's great. We do it on Twitch. You can't pay us on Twitch. We need to get big enough. But yeah, maybe we do it on. That'd probably be Twitch. We'll see.
I would see like if we could do it on YouTube, like see if we can stream simultaneously on both. And then if the YouTube one gets taken
You can't.
down,
That's, I don't know which one, but that's against someone's terms of service, is you need at least 24 hours for a re-upload on YouTube for something that appeared on an external platform like Twitch. It's someone's terms of service, maybe both, but you can't do that. Also, technically, I don't know if you could even do that, like, from a technical standpoint, but, We might give that a go, because that's something that... it'd be better because we'll be doing it. I think we'll have fun, but that's something that, like, streaming is not nearly as fun without the audience. Yeah.
And I think if we... Because we have artistic analysis, and that's more for, like, joint projects together we have.
Well, because there's also... Steven Universe it's got a lot of songs, all of them great. So what I do is they have like karaoke tracks I would grab the audio for, and we'd do like basically covers of the songs, like probably some ridiculous stuff, whatever, maybe some. And I don't know, there's not real plans. We got some plans, but it's just to see how it goes, because it's...
Also,
Alex knows it.
Desisted.
Alex knows it, so like they...
Here we are in the future.
I know the songs. Alex knows the series enough to where we... But the thing...
Actually, I'm going to do another rewatch while at my parents' while I'm working on other orcs.
Well, we can't rewatch while we're doing Steven Universe Project, but...
But it's been a while since
yeah.
I've revisited, so I'm just going to do it on my own time because I need something to listen to while I do.
You should genuinely... I don't think it's as good without the inside jokes, but online somewhere is Foley Ship of the Rings. The Yogscast did it, of all people, so, like... They have the audio track. If you have the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, it's like the first half of the movie. You could just sync them up. It's hilarious. I keep meaning to get Alex to watch it. But the funny thing is, when you know, they kind of knew Lord of the Rings. They knew what should happen, but then they couldn't remember lines and stuff. And Foley Ship was a thing where Lord of the Rings opens with like a big battle. And so they spent a month on the first, like, 15 seconds, because that battle was so intense. And at that point, they'd gone insane. And they decided to skip ahead to something with dialogue and come back. And over the course of, like, a year and a half, it slowly went more and more off the rails. It was fantastic. If you can find like archives of Foley Ship of the Ring, not like when they did the audio, not the video. I thoroughly recommend it. But we might try that. That might be the replacement for And then what we do is we'd stream making it. If we put the audio tracks on YouTube, we couldn't link them to video because copyright. We'd probably put the first one up with video, but then you could theoretically,
what we theoretically
watch.
could do is I could do animatics to. Obviously, it wouldn't.
But then it's not the same because that's when Foley Ship stopped being good. But the thing is, but like we could do special animatics, but you know you want it to be. The whole point is it's our audio on the show.
No, but like, as like just something visually.
Yeah.
It'd be really like.
We'd probably do, like, the music videos and stuff we'd upload or clips. But the whole idea is that at the end of this, you could technically watch the entire franchise, which takes, like, a weekend, by the way, to watch Steven Universe. I recommend it. If you have nothing to do this weekend, it's genuinely that... Can you stream it? You can stream
Hulu.
most of it. All of it now?
I believe you can stream up to season 5 on Hulu. I don't know if they have Steven Universe Future.
Future... It's cheap. It's cheap if you buy it, but it's genuinely, like, it's on
Hulu.
I've cited it. Yeah, it looks like it's online. I've cited it is one of my 2 perfect shows.
I would just, like...
You know how...
Your watch-alongs, I hope they're just you dissecting what you like about the show.
You know how, it's a mix of that and just poking at it. You know, it's basically how we watch shows. But, you know how Deep Space Nine is so good... because of, like, what the stories and what it does with the characters. But also, it seems incredibly thought out and, like, planned. Everything down to the littlest detail to the last episode was planned from day one, even though it's not at all. Imagine if Deep Space Nine was actually planned to the littlest detail from day one. That's Steven Universe. It is a kid's show. I saw you guys in my Prodigy audience. I know you're not going to run away, but it's one that doesn't treat the audience like kids. It can take, kind of like Prodigy did a bit, it took a little bit to ramp up and be more overt about some of the darker themes. Like, it's a show that discusses, like, war crimes, and it's a show fundamentally about a war criminal. But, the first season of Steven Universe, which is its longest, but if you just watch the first season, it's one of the best examples I've thought of where afterwards you go, oh, I now want to go back and watch from the beginning and see everything I missed. And you'll realize that the characters in the world know the plot of the story, even if you don't. And they're very overt about it in the kind of ways where you'd miss it unless you go back and you're like, oh my god, they knew the whole time. It's fantastic. And that goes down to the very end of the original show, is just, it knew everything. But yeah, I looked up and was real excited. I saw David C's I'd watch it. And I was like, finally, a convert. And then I remembered that was Steven Universe Project. Because Steven Universe Project is probably will totally spoil Steven Universe. So, you know, we'll probably try that. And I won't just abandon N Squared. If I don't do streams, I'll do more videos. If I do less videos, I'll do more streams. Ideally, I'll do both. But streams are easy.
Lucy, get back here.
Because I can just do this. This has been an hour and a half for an hour and a half's worth of content. That is easy. Well, technically, it's been 2 hours. I watched the episode. But videos take so much longer. But we'll see. I'd like to get into them, though. I'm about to have rent. My free money every month is about to take a nosedive. But yes, I will wrap it up there then. I will... Oh, wait, no, before we do... I know, Star Trek Lower Decks Memory Alpha. What is next week? We still don't know. God, does Lower Decks just not announce it? I always feel like they announce it the day after my streams. And here is the Memory Alpha page for Moopsy. Whoops, there it goes. So, Moopsy, the Moopsy, 2381. God, I love Memory Alpha. Whoops. Thank you all for watching.